Fox, and this is the Prospector Podcast. And I have joining me Terry Lynch, the CEO and president of Power Nickel. Welcome, Terry.
Hey, Michael. Great to be here with you.
Yeah, it's been a while since you and I have had a chance to talk. You and I both been all over the world, but we haven't actually been in the same place at the same time. And I'm betting you are the only person that's probably put in more air miles getting your story out than I have.
Yeah, it's been a great year. Obviously a lot of miles on because we had such a great story to tell, and we wanted to make sure that we got it out there. And obviously the Canadian capital markets are a pretty savage place to be right now. So if we weren't, traveling the world, meeting a lot of American and Asian and European investors, we wouldn't have had the financial resources to move forward with the story, with the with the discovery at Lion, so it's been a exhausting year. I'm home now, and I'm glad I'm home for a few weeks, just resting up, but dealing with the pile of paperwork and the end of the year stuff. But feels like we had on the whole a very successful year, and more to come in 2025 is as good as 2024 is. I think it's just to start. I really think 2025 and 2026 will be the big years for us. That we'll have bigger years in each year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I find it humbling when you refer to 2024 as being a successful year, because I know companies out there that'd be screaming from the treetops about how good they were with half the success you guys have had this year. It's been a beyond banner year, and the hits keep coming. Your last round of drill results have come out, including another hole again today, and literally the hits keep coming. It's remarkable what's coming out of the ground.
Yeah, that drill bit will make you a genius or make you a fool, Michael. You know that. All the teams on the really good junior mining companies can do is follow the science, and then the drill bit will decide if the science was good or bad. And so we've been super fortunate. Let's be honest. We followed the science, looking for more nickel sulfide. When we made the initial discovery in the Lion Zone, and we didn't find it, but we found copper sulfide. Wow, and that changed the whole story from being a nickel sulfide, high grade, medium high grade, project to a polymetallic project, and that just as you know, transformed the company and what we know about NIST. So we've continued to be super fortunate to be able to explore this amazingly gifted piece of ground. And the neat thing about copper and nickel sulfides is the exploration techniques you can use to explore this versus say gold, and silver and precious metals is quite different, right? You have some really amazing technologies, particularly downhole EM, which is sort of like shooting fish in the barrel exploration wise. So once you get a good hole, we put that downhole EM machine in, and we take a snapshot of it, and it turns a 6-inch pipe into a 200-meter-inch radius, and you get to really understand what's around you. Now you have to debug it, and there's things the scientists have to do to make sure it's not a false impression. But generally, it gives us a hell of a good insight into what we might find in the next drill hole. And so that's what we've learned. We learned that largely by through Steve Beresford, who we had obviously made the discovery with our existing team, and they did obviously an amazing job for us. But we had never really had a polymetallic, none of us. So we brought in, I would say, arguably the best guy in the world in that area, Steve Beresford, Dr. Steve Beresford, and he gave us the tool set, and the research insights, and man, has he been right. So that's why I say I think 25 will be better than 24, because we really have just collected all this information now, and we're just now beginning to put it to work, and really will ramp that up in 25. So if you think we're successful in 24, I don't know, man. I think with the science we could be even more successful in 2025, and faster, and grow this thing even quicker. So it's if you're I feel like a kid in the candy store, or just beneath Santa's Christmas tree or something. Something good's happened for us. So thank you, God.
Yeah, that's, again, that's, understating everything. Most people don't realize that the initial discovery hole online happened in the early part of this year. And it seems like, you've been at this for years with all the progress that you've made since then. Um, Tell people though, because I don't think they actually have an appreciation for how rare it is to find a polymetallic discovery of this size. There's not very many of these in the world.
No, not even in the history of the world, right? I mean, I don't, maybe 20. I mean, there's just not a lot. I mean, obviously the mother of all these, the biggest, the most successful mine in the history of the world is a project they refer to as Norilsk in Russia. And, it's amazing, project. Obviously, now we've studied it now that we realize we got a bit of a lookalike. And that project has 1,400,000,000 in the ground. And get this will blow you away. It certainly blew me away. 90% of it is in 1 square kilometer. So, I mean, just think of that. I mean, it's easy to miss a square kilometer in mining. Trust me, I've missed it many times. And so you can imagine missing, somebody could have missed that mine by 1 square kilometer and missed the heart of it. So it's crazy, but, it's super rare. Probably our understandings of them are also have been somewhat misguided. That's why Dr. Beresford has been so, I think, instrumental in our success. In that his understanding of this has matured over time as he's worked with them. He was formerly chief geo at First Quantum, and then at MMG, and then at chief scientific officer at IGO, and so all successful polymetallic projects. So he spent enormous sums exploration wise on these projects, and he's learned a lot of the tactics and what the history of these things. And he's gone back. Honestly, he's gone back into Roman times and found polymetallic, nickel, copper, nickels, and stuff like this. And just imagining where that came from, and it's pretty interesting stuff. So his understanding of these ore bodies is, I think, something that he's communicating to the geological world, and gradually they're getting more understanding of it as well, because it's, while we're obviously having a ton of success at Lion, and it's a copper sulfide, it's actually part of a nickel body. It's called orthomagmatic, and it's a nickel copper PGE, noble metals, really, with gold and silver body, and it'll start in the nickel sulfides, and then it'll morph into ultimately the copper sulfides, and back again. And so that's exactly what's happening, at NIST, with we had the nickel sulfides in the, sort of bottom left-hand corner, if you imagine that on your screen, and then it morphed into this, copper sulfide, and it might morph back into the nickel sulfide again. That's sort of how these systems work, so it's pretty interesting to see it all sort of unfold in real time. Like, we've had so much understanding this year. Yet again, I think we've just scratched the surface of what's really there, but it's been amazing.
Yeah. Now, given all of that, what kind of challenges is that going to create when it comes time to actually mining the ore and trying to process out the various metals?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, polymetallic deposits are more complicated to process versus simpler deposits, but not necessarily any less productive in terms of recovery rates and stuff like that. One only has to look at Platte Reef, and our lead investor Robert Friedland, who invested in our last round, and that was obviously something he was concerned with. But having had the experience in the polymetallics like he's had, he knows that with the right set of processes that exist today, you can get high 80s and low 90 recoveries in the metallurgical complex. So it takes time, it takes engineering. You got to do your tests, go through the process, and we're started that now at the Lion Zone. So that'll come out this year. That's one of the things we will deliver is some sort of metallurgical report. Probably is going to take us to H2 to deliver that, but we're quite optimistic that we'll have quite high recoveries. Just because of the simplicity of the ore. The chalcopyrite. We see it as very easy to process. That's where the copper is for the most part, and then gold, and then the the PGEs are located adjacent to it. So I think we'll see some interesting results. Got to get that out, but yeah, we think the technology is there to get very good economics on the metallurgical side.
Yeah, well, big deposits attract big names, and you mentioned Robert Friedland has come on board as a shareholder, but he's not the only big name that's you've attracted attention of this year, given the find and the magnitude of the discovery.
Yeah, we've been very blessed. Rob McEwen was the first. He stepped in early. And Rob's got a track record of being early in these things. He's got a nose for it, and so he stepped in last December. Around this time last year, we did a round together, and then we've had others. Gina Reinhardt from Australia, the Australian legend. She was pretty much the person that drove us from 40 cents to 70 cents with her her buying in the market. And we've had others. I mean, last count, we've got something like 14 billionaires in the deal. And that's really how we've, in this tough capital markets, it's been blocking and tackling, being the ultra high net worth investors that generally understand mining very, very well, have their own experts. And we show them the story, and they tiptoe in, and then as they get more confidence, they buy more. So that's been really a strong point for us. And probably our next move, we don't need cash today, but as we need cash in the project, we'll start to move beyond the ultra high net worth crowd to the more institutional crowd. And that's one of the reasons I've been doing so much traveling lately is to try to sort of get out there and speak to the institutions that don't really know us and the banks that don't really know us, and tell them about our story, and they see it. And man, I mean, I can tell you that nobody is not impressed with this discovery.
No, and rightfully so. And it's looks like the market's actually cottoned on to the magnitude of the discovery. You guys are up dramatically over the start of the year, and you're actually toying with hitting $1.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, obviously, one can't be unhappy with the stock performance this year. It's been great. Do I think we should be multiples more than what we are? Yes, I do. I mean, if you compare us to, the Forans and Fireflies and, Fireweeds of the world, who are great companies, great discoveries, their market caps are much in excess of ours relative to what we've found and what they've found, I feel. I feel like, they're probably on the low end too. So, I think there's a lot of discovery left yet in the power nickel stock. I mean, I guess every CEO would say that. But I believe it math backs us up, and I think we are starting to get some traction. The bigger you're starting to see more volume, like more, it's bigger people are buying, and when we break through $1, and I believe it's in my mind it's a when, not an if. Then it's going to get even faster because people will it'll open it up to a lot more bigger investors, and then they'll come in and clean things up because there's no way this should be down here. Given all that we've discovered and the potential this thing has, I believe it's going to be a world-class mine. That's going to, that means you're going to find 1 million tons of contained metal. And you show me a 1 million tons of contained metal, and I will show you a billion or multi-billion-dollar company. And I truly feel that's the future for power nickel.
Yeah, you certainly probably don't have a wish list for Santa. He's pretty much granted all your wishes this year. So
it's so good.
If people want to continue to follow the power nickel story, Terry, how would they go about doing so?
Yeah, the best thing to do is to join go to the website. There's a link there. You can sign up, and you'll see a steady stream of our news releases. And the good news about power nickel is that because we're fully funded, we're in the midst of a 30,000 meter program. I think we've drilled about 12 to 14,000 in the first part of the year here, and we're just starting today. Today's hole was the first of that series of news. So we've got press releases lined up. I mean, we're waiting for assays to come in, but I expect based on the assay calendar that early January we'll have another set of great holes out, including hole 80, which we've talked about extending the 150 meter step out that worked out for us. There's even more stuff to come later in January that I think will be even more exciting than hole 80. So it's going to be a great time to be watching, and better. It's a great time to be investing. I mean, again, it's got to do with one's perspective on the world and one's own situation, But again, I think I would be right now, and I've been saying to my friends, and I've obviously demonstrated with my own checkbook that you should be overweight commodities now in a big way, and you should be loading up on your best names. The ones you have the highest conviction in, because that's these guys in this next cycle. I believe 10 baggers will be routine, and there'll be 100 baggers. And you don't invest in junior mining, to make 10 or 20%. This is not that field. You're looking for multiple wins, and of course, there is black swan events called the drill bit and other things like expropriation and political risk and stuff like that can happen in mining deals that can hurt you. So, I mean, the good thing about NIST is that luckily we're in the safest jurisdiction in the world, the best jurisdiction in the world, I think, in Quebec, with tremendous, exploration, financial incentives, great relationships with the First Nation. That James Bay Cree have been phenomenal to work with. They're a very business-like group. They're sharp. They ask the right questions, they do the right thing. So we really got an enviable situation. The best of all worlds at NIST, and luckily for you as an investor, if you're listening today, I think it's still largely undiscovered. Which sounds crazy given how the stock has done well this year. But I say to people, yeah, you've missed the first 4 bagger, but you haven't missed the 10 bagger, in my view. That's just me, and obviously I'm long and therefore recommend, so people should take that into account. But I truly believe the evidence is there. That this is going to be a compelling news story, and as great as 2024 was, I think that I would expect 2025 to be greater.
Yeah, I tell people, buckle up. This one's going to be a wild ride. Thank you very much for your time, Terry. And I think our paths are going to cross in January in Vancouver. So I look forward to seeing you in person again.
Okay, Michael, you and yours have a great Christmas, okay? And happy holidays to everyone listening. Cheers for now.
Cheers, Terry. Power Nickel is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares in Power Nickel bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.